All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are live after 5. Someone like to turn that light off? Okay, get a piece of candy, buddy. Okay, so today the goal is, what you guys have told me, is that we need to get our alien sprite to move around the screen. Okay, yesterday we talked about we cannot allow the sprite to go off the screen. Remember that? So I can't send it to the edge of the screen and let him be over here. That's cool that you can still see him. I can't let him go down here. So the XY coordinate plane is an upside down coordinate plane. 0, 0 is the top left. And 0, 0 is fine because remember that the top left corner of the sprite is its XY coordinate. Okay, everybody put your left hand up in the air. Touch that little top corner up there, the box that's around you. Okay, that little point right there is your XY coordinate. All right. So you can't let this guy go go outside the zone. That zone is the width of the screen. If I would set it exactly to the width of the screen, remember it's its left coordinate, he would be out. If I send it to the very bottom of the screen, he would be out, right? So you have to do the screen width minus the width of the sprite, and the height minus the height of the sprite. I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so we need to remember that when we have him move around the screen. I'm a little nasally today. I've got a head cold. See, I can't even say cold right. So if you guys can't understand me today, I'm sorry. Okay, so does everybody understand clocks? Whatever's inside the block happens over and over and over again. Okay, every time it ticks. So the game time is set to tick at 1,000 milliseconds. That's 1 second. So every second, it's subtracting 1 from our game time, setting the game time label, displaying it, and then if it hits 0, then it stops the clock and says game over. Okay. This was kind of funny yesterday. I had this right here. What did it do? Every single second it said game over, game over, game over, game over. Are you with me? Every second, game over. Because that kind of just shows you how clocks work. This has to go inside the if. If the clock gets to 0, I want to say game over. All right? So let's go ahead and grab the clock move sprite. And this is going to happen much quicker because I think we set... you know what? We forgot something in here. Let's go ahead and just do this right now. We forgot game score. Actually, let's don't do this one. Let's go ahead and... We need high score in here. So let's go ahead and add a high score variable. Okay. And if we're going to do high score, we have to have a tiny database. So let's go back to the storage. And we need a tiny DDB. We got to add that high score to the DB. Got to have a database to store and save storage. If you go back to your GUI and go back to storage, go into your storage box, your storage drawer, and add a tiny DB. Thumbs up if you did that. Who did not do that? What's up, Josh? Are you still loading? That's the nightmare about moving seats. That's why I hate to move seats. It's almost like we're on this fragile little cliff of computers at work. As soon as you switch seats, and it all blows up again. Can everybody be real quiet so I can videotape my my cricket? It's not picking it up. We need to get a cricket in here. Okay, so I did a couple things today. I added the high score variable. Everybody know how to do that? Do we want to remember high score? If we want to remember high score, then what do we have to create? Not everybody at once. We have to create a global variable. Okay. These are in your variables box. All right, so let's go ahead and start to move our sprite. Okay. When the clock timer ticks, we're going to take our image sprite and we want to move it to. Okay. Some XY coordinates. But it's going to be random, right? So we need a random integer. Good, Chandler. Let's go back to math. Have you guys remember seeing that random integer in there? Random integer. Do I want to go from 1 to 100? No. Okay. What's the lowest number we want to go to? No. What's the top left corner of the screen? 0, right? So I want to go, 0, 0 is okay. And I can copy this and paste this. This is 0, 0. So x is 0, y is 0. That's a good coordinate. How wide is our screen? $300, right? But remember, we can't send it to 300. You guys remember on that? You can't do that. So if we were not intelligent, we would do this, 300. Right? And it would probably randomly, hit somewhere in between there. Might hit at 250, it might hit at 117, it might hit at 57, it might hit at 0. But if it does hit at 300, and that sprite goes off the screen, we have a problem. Okay? So we're going to work smarter because we did our planning. And on the board, we said, hey, let's go to the width of the screen minus the width of the sprite. You remember saying that? So let's go get a math subtraction sign in here. Okay. And over here, I want to go from 0 to the width of the canvas. So go to canvas field and go find its width. There it is, dot width. I want to go to the canvas width minus my sprite width. There you go. And if you want, you could just go ahead and duplicate this. And down here when you're doing Y's, should this be width? If I'm on my Y, if I'm going up and down, what's up and down? Is the width up and down? No, what's up and down? Height. So you want to change this to height. Okay? Let me just go show you how to go ahead and set. You guys know that you set the time interval in the GUI. Well, let me show you how to do it in code. If you go to this screen initialize, go find your screen 1 initialize. And then what you can do down here is go to your clock time and set your time interval. Do it by code. That way we don't have to keep jumping back. So set time interval. And then here, you just go get a math number. Okay. And I will set this time interval to, let's say, 500. 500 is it happens twice in a second. And now I can duplicate this one. And let's go to game time. Game time's probably going to stay at 1,000. Yes. There's no internet connection. Check your little button on the right-hand side of your, right over here where the USB port is. There's a little tiny button over there. Make sure it's green. Little tiny thing. Make sure it's green. See it? You're too far up. Back to the very corner over here. Okay, it's got to be green. Turn it, switch it so it's green. So, do you guys see what I did here? I just went ahead and set this to 500. Now you can hit reset. And now that's going to be set to 500. And let's see how fast 500 is. Let's see how fast 500 is. Okay, yeah, 500's moving. Yeah, I can get 500. So just real quick, if we want to go to the next level and speed up the sprite, what do we have to do? How can I make my sprite go faster? Yeah, just speed up the clock. So next round, you're going to be at 450, right? And then the next round, you're at 400, okay? The next round, you're at 375. The next round, you're at 350. And the next round, you're at, are you with me on this? Does everybody understand that? So the faster that clock goes, the faster this moves through this timer, the faster this guy moves, okay? So we can start back at 500. Okay? Yeah. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and tap our sprite and get points. So we just want to go back to the image sprite when it's touched. When the image sprite is touched. Remember we said we wanted to play a sound? Okay. So I'm going to call my sound 1. And I want to play sound 1. And then I want to go ahead and give myself points. So you go back to your variable and you set your your score. And we're going to do some math with our score. We're going to add some points to our score. We're going to get our score. And how much do you want to add to it? 1? Just 1? I was going to add like 1,000. What? Yeah. You get 1,000 every time you touch it. It just makes it cooler. I don't know why. We're greedy in America, right? So we want more points. We want more money. I want more money. Who wants more money? You should want more money. Money's what we live off of. On the screen? Why? Did you look at your move random integer function? Every time you give yourself points, you're going to have to set the score label. Okay? And I'm going to go ahead and get a text box. Go ahead and get a join. go ahead and get a score. I'll put in there the same thing I typed in earlier, score, colon, space. No. We do not have to do high score until the game is over, right? So, Chandler brought up a good point. Let's go back here and start talking about high score. When the game is over, right? Now we can check for high score. Okay. So let's go ahead and write a procedure for that. And we'll say check for high score. Okay. And now we can just go in here and say, okay, check for high score, game over, check for high score. How do you check for high score? You do an if, right? And you see if it's greater than or equal to. So I'm going to say something like if my score is greater than or equal to high score. So if your score is greater than or equal to the high score, what happens? Your score is now what? The new high score. So what we would do now is we would go ahead and set high score equal to your score. So your score is now the high score. And then we would display it. So we go to our uh-oh, do we not have a high score label? Whoa, 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 whoa. Back up the bus. We need a high score in here. You did? You were smart. Not for taking out, but for having one. Yeah, we got to have high score in there. Okay, I'll do a little lime green here. Yeah, I'm going to go high score, colon. And I'll say 0. And text color is going to be that green. Okay, and I think we made these 18 font. Okay, there's high score. And now you also want to add high score to your database. So now you just go into your TinyDB and you want to say, hey, okay, store that value. Okay, so what's going to be the tag? We need a tag here. That tag can simply be high score. And you want to go ahead and get the high score then. So I just stored the high score. Now, when you go back to screen initialize, when you start the game, you want to pull up high score so that high score is always coming back up, right? So you want to go ahead and set your high score label. When you initialize the app, you want to set your high score label to get this value Okay. And then you want to go ahead and get your tag, which remember our tag was going to be high score, right? You have to spell it exactly like you did down here. So let's make sure I spelled it high score. High, capital H, capital S, space in the middle, high score, and value if tag not there. So they can just put in, you just put in a 0 here, and you go get the value in the tag high score. Okay. And then down here we can do something with some text-to-speech. And text-to-speech could come on and say, congratulations, you notched high score. Congratulations, you notched the high score. I do. Okay, so let's see if this works. Let's run your game. And let's see if your game runs. And let's see. The first time, what should happen the very first time? What should automatically happen? You should get the high score. Why? As long as you hit it one time and you beat 0, you should get the high score the first game. Okay? So where is my... I'm going to go work on my sound. Sound 1 is sound 1. Sound 1 doesn't have a source. So you guys need to go and record something. Can someone make an alien sound for me? Perfect timing. That right there is my perfect timing. So let me see if I can just play one of these. Got it. Right there, I'll do that. File, export selection. So this is my alien period 1 dot. It's a dot MP3. Okay, it does handle MP3s. So I export that. And then all I do is go back to MIT. And I go upload, choose a file. I go to SpriteSmash, and there it is, alien period 1. I hit OK. And there it is. Did I tell it to play? When the alien is touched, play sound 1. That's correct. So let's go ahead and start this again. You guys should hear a sound playing when I do this. Let's go ahead and reset the connection. Let's see if you guys can hear this. Did you hear that? I got them again. Reset button. So do you see how I have it playing now? Oh, by the way, it brought up the 3300. that 33,000 that I got last time. Did you see that? That's cool. So that's working. All right, so let's go to the reset button. Can anybody tell me what the resetting button should do? Click it. What do we reset? Well, let's go back up here and let's see what we initialized. Well, the game time should go back to 0 and score should go to 0. Okay, so so you just go take your, let me see if I can grab some code up here anywhere.
Congratulations, you notched the high score.
That worked. Okay, so I want this. That's my LBL score. I want to go ahead and set my score. Score should automatically go back to what? 0. So you just go math and get a 0. That goes in the score. And the time should get reset, right? So go back and reset your time. Game time should go back to what? 60 or whatever you're going to make. If it was 30, if you started your game at 30, it should go back to 30. I started mine at 60. I'm going to set mine back to 60. And then you just duplicate this. And down here, this should be game time. Game time colon space. Game time. And what else should get reset? Oh, the time. The time, if you guys remember this, the time got turned off. Where did the time get turned off at? Right here. So you need to go ahead and set your, duplicate this, right? Okay. And go ahead and move your time back to true. Start it again. So when you hit reset, you should start the clock again. That'll start the clock. So it'll move the clock back to 60 and then start the clock over again when you hit reset. So when you hit reset, you got to be ready to play. Okay? And then down here, I could say catch me if you can or something like that. Where's my, here it is. Ha, ha. Catch me if you can. Why do I always put the 9 in the YOU? Catch me if you can. Okay, so let's go ahead and start our, let's try our reset button.
Catch me if you can. Catch me if you can. Catch me if you can.
So it goes back, yeah. I think we have a working program, folks. Who thinks we have a working program? All right, happy coding.